Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, Senate Bill 553 is a critical bill that is going to help us address the school-to-prison pipeline. When our kids reach the age of 18, we want them to be graduating from high school and going to work in our communities, not facing a lifetime of incarceration. When Youth Rights and Justice first started to talk to me about this issue, I was surprised. Would you believe that in the 13-14 school year, in grades K through 5, kindergarten through 5th grade, so little kids, there were 8,000 kids who were out of school suspended, sent home from school, not able to attend school. I heard that number and I said, good grief with gravy, we've got to do something about that. 70% of these suspensions, out of school suspensions, were for minor infractions, things deemed as disruptive behavior. When we dug more deeply into the numbers, we saw that it's significantly disproportionate for students who are at risk, students with disabilities and students of color. In the early elementary grades, 1 out of 28 African American students in Oregon will be suspended, out of school, suspended from school. That's compared to only 1 out of 100 Caucasian students. And those ratios get even worse by the 5th grade. By the 5th grade, 1 out of every 12 African American students in Oregon will have been out of school suspended, compared to 1 out of 36 Caucasian students. Our numbers don't compare well, for instance, to New York City. New York City suspends students at a rate of 13.73 students per thousand. So remember that number, 13.73, 14. And in Oregon, our number is 83.5 per thousand out of school suspensions for kids grade through 5. In 2011, to put those numbers out there, that's 13,769 out of school suspensions. Some of those are duplicated. Those aren't individual kids. Some kids are suspended more than once. So 13,000 in New York City. In Oregon, 46,899 out of school suspensions of little kids in 2011. 5% of white students will be suspended out of school at some point in their school career, while 16% of black students. And this was another one that surprised me. African American girls are suspended at a rate 12% higher than girls of any other color and than most boys. So we have a significant problem here. When kids are not in school, they can't learn. When they fall behind because they aren't receiving the instruction they need, it makes it even more difficult for them to be ready to earn their high school diplomas, and it makes it more likely that they are going to be disruptive in school because school becomes more difficult. When we're talking about little kids, kindergartners through 5th graders, little kids can be disruptive. I've lived with little kids. You've probably lived with little kids. That's just what it's like to live with little kids. Senate Bill 553 deals with this issue by saying we will no longer in Oregon suspend children in grades K through 5 unless they are presenting a significant risk to themselves or others in the school or making a threat against the school. This will still allow districts to address health and safety issues, but it will mean that districts do a better job of meeting the behavioral needs of students and keep the focus on keeping kids in school where they can learn so that they can be prepared to graduate from high school. Colleagues, Senate Bill 553 is a critical bill that will help us meet our 40-40-20 goals. It will help us address some racial equity issues and disability equity issues, and it will make sure that more of our kids are graduating from high school and less of our kids are winding up in the correction system. I urge your aye vote.